London is full of opportunities, and we all know that it's expensive to live in London. This is why we have to look everywhere for these opportunities. We can actually find free places to promote artists or businesses, like the pop-up by Earls Court Development Company. This documentary shares the experience of Annette Fernando, who managed to gather 42 artists in only a month and make the most of the space she has been given for 21 days and for free.
I've always been drawing since childhood, very cliche. And then I studied art in school, so I did a degree in fine art, and I've been doing it the last 10 years. And more recently, I started Curation. This space is owned by Earls Court Development Company, and I grew up in Earls Court, so I had been noticing that they're very creative in the events they've been doing. And then I saw that they were having an open call for artists in residence. I proposed to them if I could use this space. Initially, it was just to work on a drawing and my research of Earls Court. But they also have this pop-up shop, which every month they rotate. They have different local businesses trying out their concept for 1 month. So they said, well, the shop is free. And I said, okay, well, actually, I'm part of a collective, or I know many artists. I would like to involve more artists to sell lots of different products, whilst I use this space as a studio. But then it ended up becoming an exhibition. Initially, I had the idea of 20 artists over 20 days, but the logistics of the space is what made it more. I think what's really interesting about this place is we're on a high street, so we're very exposed, which means that people are just drawn in off the street. It means that I've met loads of people, loads of local artists as well. There's such a demand for an art space like this, where people can come together, work together, a space to exhibit work, because it's usually really expensive to rent a space. So I like in my work to look at history, especially London histories, because I grew up here. I came across a postcard of the street I grew up on from like 1800s. I used to love going to archives and just like looking at streets that either I grew up on or my old schools. I just find these locations that had some significance to me. And I saw that there was a massive wheel in the background when I started researching it. It actually was in the exhibition centre. So the wheel was made for the Empire of India exhibition. Yeah, I wanted to make work about it. So I like to uncover histories and untold stories in my work. A lot of the time, artists, to get funding or a space, they have to engage with the community. And I used to think, oh, maybe that's really difficult because artists are usually isolated, you know, they work by themselves. But from me doing curation and working with lots of different artists, I realized like it's a really important part of my process. Like, for example, when the community come, they ask me questions about the work, or like one day someone was asking me about my research, and then I made a research breakthrough about where the wheel is just because I got so excited talking to someone. Also, you see that the community are getting a lot. You're giving back, you're teaching people things as well. I'd say it's all been a learning process in terms of knowing what the area wants. So I've been really listening to what the community have come in and told me they want to see or they want to learn. So it's kind of developed out of what is needed. I will say that this wheel is one of my favorites just because it's the start of a bigger project. Like, I think this whole Earls Court thing is a lifelong project for me. I think sometimes with work, there's some work that's a starting point for like a whole series. and then it becomes a favorite because you see that's a turning point in your career. So yeah.
I'm Lucy.
I'm Patrick, and together we're Yuck Farm.
We make illustrated clothing and tote bags and art prints and things like that.
Clothing such as this sweatshirt. We were both studying art at Leeds Metropolitan University. Well, we'd be doing our own art practices separately. I was doing more sort of commercial illustration. I had a commission for a children's clothing company. You had been doing sort of sewing and making clothes.
Yeah.
Where does cats come into it?
Yeah, we've got a cat called Dora.
Yeah, since we got her a few years ago, the art direction has changed somewhat. I don't think I'd actually really bothered drawing a cat until we got a cat.
Yeah, she's got quite a round face, so I feel like it's perfect for drawing. I feel like the world is just quite awful at the moment anyway, and like, I feel like art is a bit of an escape for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'd happily live in our weird drawing world if I could.
I would say to anyone who wants to pursue art or curation, the best word of advice is just do it. Just start your idea, start your project. Because I think a lot of the time artists are waiting for a gallery to pick them up and represent them. But more interesting spaces like this have popped up, and artists are taking it into their own hands to come up with their own exhibitions, put on their own shows, have more control. And so yeah, that is my biggest recommendation, is just start your project. No matter how big or small, just start it and see where it takes you, because I think you'll be surprised.